Hello, reader. I'm Alix.
I'm Kelly.
And this is the LitJoy podcast. We're so excited to welcome Cherry Wallis to our LitJoy podcast today. With a following of over 1 million across her social channels, Cherry is a content creator with a magical twist. Cherry is a YouTuber and has a Nickelodeon Kids Choice Award to her name. She has an engaged magical online family tuning in for her positivity and subscription box reviews. Hello, Cherry. Welcome to the LitJoy podcast. We're so happy to have you. We want to jump right in. We want to hear a little bit about you, your brand, your YouTube channel, and just tell us, what is the Cherry Wallis story?
Oh, God.
I'm from the beginning.
Just a little question.
As a small question.
As a tiny question. No, so YouTube. I have been doing this I actually found out that I've been doing this for 13 years the other week, which I didn't realize it had actually been that long, but it's been a 13-year long journey so far. We're still on it. But yeah, I'm mostly known for like my magical subscription unboxings and reviews and Harry Potter content and that kind of thing. I also really love making lifestyle vlogs where I get to fangirl about plants, cleaning, my recent love for books as well. But yeah, I've been doing it for a very long time. And believe it or not, it wasn't meant to be a career. It started as a hobby back when I was at university studying art and design. And I was meant to be a primary school teacher. That was my life goal. So this kind of accidentally fell into my lap. And I just decided to give it a go because it was really interesting. And when I first started, it wasn't monetizable. So it was definitely a hobby and a way to make friends and that kind of thing. But yeah, I've been doing it for a very, very long time.
When you first started, was it always geared towards magical, or did that evolve as you got more and more into it? Like, what did you start doing? I'm curious.
So it's definitely evolved over the years. When I first started YouTube, I think it was like tag videos back then. And I also dabbled in like comedy sketches, which is hilarious thinking about it now, because I don't find myself comedy orientated or that funny, to be fair. But I loved making like comedy sketches, and I learned how to do green screening from scratch myself. And I even learned how to video edit myself. I did everything myself back in the day. And I learned video editing on YouTube. So that's a whole skill that I learned from scratch. But yeah, so it was comedy. I've dabbled in beauty videos before. I was really interested in like special effects makeup at one point, which kind of crosses paths with my education in art as well. And then around 2017, maybe 2018, I did a Harry Potter video, and I realized that there were other like-minded people like myself, which is really nice. And then I was just like, oh, hang on a minute, I can actually be pretty nerdy, and people are really accepting of that. So it kind of spiraled from there.
Was that like your first, well, maybe not your first, but one of your most memorable like viral videos, would you say, that magical one?
Probably not. Some of the people that have been watching me for a very long time will know that one of my very early videos, I don't like talking about it. It's quite embarrassing now, but it's when I mixed Coca-Cola with milk. It started this whole trend on the internet. It was like a viral challenge in the end, whereas it was me just showing that it's quite a nice drink that as a child with my childhood best friend, like we grew up on drinking that. Very strange. I know it sounds weird, but that was actually one of my first viral videos, which went over 1 million. Couldn't tell you why, but it did.
Like you just mix Coke and milk 50-50 in a glass?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, don't knock it until you try it.
Sounds like some sort of like dessert coffee. I don't know. I'm like, I'll give it a go. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, give it a go.
So how long do you feel like you've been more in the magical world, if you feel like that's kind of where your channel has led to?
Probably for the past 6 years, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you've had some really cool experiences.
It feels like it's been a long time.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm curious to know more. I didn't know that you got a degree in art and design. And kind of has that always, that inclination towards creativity, been something that you've always expressed? What kind of led you in that direction? Because you're very creative in your YouTube channel. It's not like, while there are fandom topics, you also obviously have a unique thing to say about them. You're very creative in your delivery. And so I am kind of curious about your art and design degree and what led you in that direction.
Thank you so much. That's really nice. I have always been very artistic in my family. So there's my mom, my dad, my brother, and me. My brother's always been the very kind of smart, very good at maths, very good at all things technology. I think he does like software development, so it really super smart. Whereas I was the artistic, creative one, always painting, always drawing. Like I remember painting since I couldn't remember really. And I felt like it was the one thing that I was always good at, or maybe one of the only things I was good at. I know that's not true now, but that's how it felt growing up. So yeah, art and design has always been a huge thing. Went to art college, did really well there, and then went on to university to do art and design as well. And then, yeah, I mean, I guess it is helpful in what I do now. One of my favorite parts of doing YouTube and that is designing the thumbnails. That's really enjoyable. So I get to kind of put my creativity into what I do now in different ways rather than through a paintbrush, for example.
Yeah. Oh, did I know you painted? That's awesome. I'm like,
you know what?
Do you
Not
have
many
them in your
people
home?
do.
Oh, I'm like, I want to know more and see more of these things that you're hiding away. But
for sure.
This is so fascinating. So, because we've known you, we've had a relationship with you for several years through LitJoy and the magical crates that we used to put out. And we fostered a relationship somewhere around year 3, year 4 crate. I'm trying to remember now.
Yes.
But it was just this perfect moment where we recognized each other, I feel like, online. I think you had just run into our crates and we had just learned about you and we were like, we should know each other. Let's talk, And I remember that very first time that I think we chatted with you on the phone. We were actually at like a work summit kind of a thing. And we were on the phone with you and we were all just like so giddy and fangirling, after we had deep dived into your channel. And we recognized that you have this incredibly, what am I trying to say? Like loyal community that you've created. I want to know more about how it started, how you started creating your community and continue to foster it, because I feel like that is such a unique gift that someone can have to do that. You have such a power to create a community that follows you as you go. And I wanted to kind of just hear a little bit more about that whole journey.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I still have pinch me moments when it comes to talking about my community, because it still doesn't feel real. Like I've always said that seeing a number on a screen, for example, or a subscriber count is so different from when like I used to go to YouTube events and conventions, and seeing these numbers turn into actual people is quite overwhelming. So it started, if we go all the way back to, oh God, I'll say like maybe 2011, 2012, YouTube gatherings were a space to make friends with like-minded people, but also maybe meet people that watched you, but probably on the rarer side. And obviously, as my friendships grew, my community grew as well on the side. And then I still can't explain it to this day. Like there's no magic formula that happened. But going to YouTube events, was definitely something that helped kind of foster a following. And, getting to meet people in real life is one of my favorite things. Obviously working for myself, I work from home. My studio is in my home. My job is quite lonely. I don't think a lot of people realize that you're alone a lot. Obviously I used to have cameraman Chris. We lived together for a few years. He produced all my videos, but for most of my career, it's very much, I'm in my house, filming on my own. I used to edit on my own, but, yeah, so to meet people in person from all around the world, and I think that's one of the most incredible things too. You know, hearing stories from different countries, different, you know, lives that people have had, and we all get to kind of connect about this one thing, which is the videos that I create on a topic that we all love, which for the most part is Harry Potter, but a lot of my community have told me that they're there for me as well, which feels really nice, that they would watch me make a video about any topic, which is quite wholesome. But yeah, I think it's just I've miraculously come across hundreds of thousands of people that are into the same stuff as me, that relate to the same things that I am interested in, that kind of thing. Yeah, it still blows my mind, if I'm honest.
I'm like, for me, watching your channel, I think the thing that just drew me in immediately was the authenticity. It's so clear that you're making a video because you want to make a video, and you're making a video about a thing that you love authentically. And so, you know, you're like, I don't know what the secret formula is, but I think it has to begin with those things. Like, you're very much passionate about the thing you're making videos about, and you're like, wouldn't be doing it for someone else. You're doing it because it's something you love. And so I think that comes across. Yeah, I think that it comes across in the videos that you create, and then also I think that you are a very charming person, so that helps, you know, because they're like, oh, I could watch you do a video about anything, which kind of brings me I don't know if this is even on our list, but I am curious, what are areas that you feel like you've kind of branched out into? Because it sounds like you started kind of broad and then spent a lot of time in that Harry Potter community. And then I know recently you've kind of branched out into other things too as well. And so I am kind of curious, what's lighting you up right now for your YouTube channel? What are you excited about right now?
So I think for me, spot on when it comes to only making stuff that feels authentic to me. That's something that I will always continue doing. I never want to create just for the sake of it. Even though this has gone from a pure hobby to a job, like this is a full business now, and a career, which is nuts in itself. But yeah, I think as long as I keep creating stuff that I'm enjoying, hopefully that will show and keep people sticking around. But as for what's lighting me up at the moment, which may also come up later on in the podcast, I'm very excited about a huge project, which is actually not YouTube at all, really, but it's kind of crossing paths. So I don't know if you girls even know this yet, but I'm opening a physical bricks and mortar store soon. It's going to be a magical. It's going to be a magical, like, witchcraft and witchy shop. It's keeping me very busy at the moment, but I'm also doing like a renovation series, and it's so out of my comfort zone. So that's what's really lighting me up at the moment. Something very fresh, very new that I've never done before. It's very exciting. And I'm trying to take my audience along this journey with me, so it feels like they're on it too.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm so excited. Cherry, that is incredible.
It's the biggest thing that I've ever done.
You have a brick and mortar store. Do you know, can you tell us where it is?
I can. So it's in Derbyshire, which is the county that I live in. So it's very local to me. Obviously I need to be close by because it's a physical store.
Yes.
And I'm very excited. It's called the Lost Cauldron. So it's going to be very magical. I want it to feel like an authentic shop on a famous magical street. I want people to walk in and feel like it's an experience, as well as, you know, somewhere to go and get magical treats and that kind of thing. But so we got the keys back in November 2023. I've held it closely secret until this month. I have recently announced about it. But yeah, so we're very, very busy renovating at the moment. And as I said, it's very outside my comfort zone. It's keeping me extremely busy, but it's so exciting to do something that's not online.
That's going to be so fun to watch. I'm so excited to watch that journey. I was like, when is your grand opening?
Yes.
We'll literally come to your grand opening and hype it as much as you want.
Yeah, we're aiming to open spring this year. So not long
amazing.
at all.
I was like, May? Is it May?
It's before May.
Okay. I was like, maybe May. We were talking about flying out there this spring, actually.
Well, I'll give you the grand tour. I'll give you a VIP tour.
That'd be amazing.
Who are you doing it with? It sounds like, because I heard we, so I didn't know if it was just someone helping with the renovation or if you are going into business with somebody.
Yeah, I have a business partner called Leslie, who also runs a magical shop up in Scotland. And we're doing it together. We've been friends and work peers, I guess, for about 7 years-ish. So it's not something that I've gone into lightly, but it's been on my bucket list for a very long time to open a shop. And honestly, I wasn't sure that it was going to become a reality, but towards the end of last year, I was like, if I don't do this now, it's never going to happen. So yeah, we started looking at properties and we found the perfect one. When you see it, you'll know why. It looks beautiful. It's the perfect spot for to start this journey.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So will you be sourcing, is it one of those things where you'll be like buying from different creators or is it like you're doing your own lines or kind of a combination of both? What is the products going to look like?
So for me, I think it's really important to support small and local businesses. So that's definitely high on the priority list. There will be some exclusive bits and pieces for the Lost Cauldron, and small ranges that will be ours. But for the most part, we want to be supporting other people. And I'm very excited about it. I have been spending many an hour stenciling a ceiling full of gold stars. So when you do visit, please take note of the ceiling, because I've so far put about 10, 15 hours into stenciling it, and I'm only a third of the way through.
This is so incredible, Cherry.
Amazing. I'm so excited for you.
It's like a culmination of everything that you've been working on throughout your life. It feels like it's a culmination of all of that into this store, like using all of your art and I'd say you have a really good eye for business on top of, because your channel does so well and you're diligent about staying on top of it and being creative and pulling different makers and artists together. I'm just like, this is incredible. I just feel like you are very on point for knowing like the next thing for you. And I'm like, we're coming out. This is exciting because
absolutely,
there's not a lot of stores like that.
It definitely feels like the next natural step for me. And I have made it very clear to my Magical Online family and my subscribers that this isn't the end of me doing YouTube. Not at all. It's something in addition. But it should be really cool. Like I get to do a shop tour, but of my own shop. Like I've been doing magical shop tours of, the Warner Brothers Studio tour, other magical shops in England, and, halls from Universal Florida and everything that. And it would be nice to actually do hauls and like shop tours of something that's mine, that I've put my own magical stamp on. It's very, very exciting. Nerve-wracking, but exciting.
No, you've got this. That's going to be amazing. That kind of brings me to my next question, where you mentioned these tours and hauls. And we're curious. We want to know, what are some of the most cool experiences you've had that have come from, or unique experiences that have come from having this YouTube channel and this business you've created?
From YouTube, I think the main one for me is building a business. Like I honestly never knew how to do that, I wasn't business orientated at all 13 years ago, but now I run multiple businesses. So I think that's something that's pretty big for me. Getting to work with some incredible brands, which we all know and love. Even silly things like movie premieres. Like,
yes, that's not silly. I would be so excited to do a movie premiere. So
yeah. I've been to a couple of movie premieres, Fantastic Beasts. Also been like House of the Dragon as well, the spin-off from Game of Thrones. And I've been on these carpets and I've definitely had some imposter syndrome. Like, do I belong here? Because I'm not sure I do, but getting those experiences is definitely down to the community that I have and everything that I've built over the last 13 years. But yeah, there's too many things to think of that's come my way from purely starting that YouTube channel. And I'm grateful every single day. And, you know, creating a worldwide community there's no words for it really. There's nothing close to it that I could be like, oh, this feels like this. Cause yeah, it's a weird, phenomenon.
Well, if I made you pin down maybe one of the most memorable things that you've got to experience from it all starting from your YouTube, is there one that kind of sticks out?
Yeah, probably. That was being flown out to New York. For, I think it was Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. So I think the second one, getting to meet loads of the cast and have a very special experience over there. It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. Was there anyone in the cast that you were like surprised by or you were like so excited to meet? Like, did you have like a top of list, like, oh my gosh? Or was it just like overall meeting all of them was just kind of this out of body experience?
I think overall, it was special meeting each one of the cast from Fantastic Beasts. Obviously, I've met some from Harry Potter as well. Going back to a question about something that sticks out, interviewing Tom Felton was a pretty big career moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
Still don't believe that happened, but that was awesome. I remember being incredibly nervous beforehand. Yeah.
Did you interview him for like one of the movies or?
So that was for the opening of the Herbology greenhouses at the Warner Brothers studio tour in London.
Oh.
And yeah, he was there for some press and I got to sit down with him and ask him questions that my audience wanted to know, ask him questions that I wanted to know. And he's an absolute dream. He's so nice in person. He's just as you would hope he would be when meeting him. I have nothing bad to say about him at all. It was a really lovely experience to interview him.
Yeah, I watched that interview. It was a good interview.
Thank you.
I think I would like dissociate or something if I was like in that moment to interview someone like that.
Thankfully, you can't see me like shaking whilst interviewing him. But that was probably the most anxious and nervous that I've ever been, was that interview, because I had one chance. There was no redos. It was once you've started rolling, you've started rolling. And I had, I think, a block of about 10 to 15 minutes maximum. So I had to make the most of that time. But yeah, it went better than I could have expected. And everyone said that I'm a good interviewer, which is quite nice because that's something, again, I do not have or hadn't had any experience in doing. So I think that's something to highlight about the last 13 years is I am constantly learning new skills.
Yes.
Amazing.
Definitely. Well, we talked a lot about Harry Potter and kind of we all have a mutual love of Harry Potter. I think it's very much part of our childhood and creating community. But I think from Harry Potter, we've seen this expansion into other fandoms that, a lot of us kind of graduate and then we move on to these other fandoms and continue that love of fandom and reading. And so I am curious to know what other fandoms have really lit you up. Like what fandoms have you joined the community and become really excited about?
For sure. So back in the day, it used to be majorly into Doctor Who. That's one that springs to mind at the top.
Yes.
A more recent one, definitely become a big fan of the Sarah J. Maas books. A Court of Thorns and Roses.
We're like, you've arrived. Hello.
And it's funny because like before last year, I'll be completely honest, wasn't really into reading, didn't really have the time for it, but I've prioritized making that time for reading and I've stuck to it. We're a year into my New Year's resolution from 2023 and I'm still there, still reading every day. But yeah, that fandom's one that I'm definitely in. Every time I talk about one of her books that I'm reading, a lot of my own audience also start talking about it, which is really nice because when you're really into something, it's so good to be able to talk about it to other people. You know, I couldn't talk about these books with my other half, for example, because, you know, he won't be reading the same books as me. But yeah, so that's definitely a fandom that I found myself in over the past year. And I'm going to be in for a while because I think she has, is it 13 books or 16?
Oh, yeah. She just signed that contract.
Oh, coming? Are they all in the same world?
It's a lot of books that she signed with Bloomsbury, but we just don't know where they're all going to fall.
Yes.
Because her third book just dropped from Crescent City, that series. And I'm predicting there's more than 3. I haven't read it yet, but she can't stop. I know her. I'm like, she's going to keep it going.
I didn't realize what I was getting into when I first picked up A Court of Thorns and Roses. I didn't realize it was such a long commitment. But here we are. And I'm enjoying every second of it. So
yeah. Have you read the Throne of Glass series yet? Or did you just
it's next on my list. It's next on my list. I'm just about to finish A Court of Thorns and Roses series, so I'm on the 5th book of that, which is the chunkiest one.
Is that the Tower of Dawn?
No. She's on the ACOTAR.
Oh.
So it's Shadow and Flame. Silver Flame.
Court of Silver Flames. So, like Nesta and Cassian.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's spicy.
So I nearly finished that. A Throne of Glass is next on the list. I'm just going to keep going, I think.
They're great.
Just power through.
We know people who can recommend some good books.
Yeah.
In case you ever need any more recommendations after you're done with Sarah.
Yeah.
I've got so many books, I can't stop buying them. It's a bit of a problem.
Oh, I'm curious.
Welcome.
Like, what are you being drawn to outside of Sarah's books?
I've actually got a giant stack of books right in front of me. One that's very high on my TBR at the moment is Fourth Wing, and then the sequel. Is it called
Iron Flame?
Iron Flame, yeah.
Yes.
I've heard very good things about Rebecca's work, so I'm very excited to read those next. I might read those after ACOTAR as a little palate cleanser, but still in the fantasy world. I'm very much drawn to fantasy and romance. Those two genres are definitely a bit of me.
It's called Romantasy, is the blend of romance and fantasy. And I was like, Fourth Wing is perfect after ACOTAR in kind of, as you mentioned, a palate cleanser. I love that idea. Oh, this is so exciting. And I'm like, the bookish community is so fun because we're always here to talk about what you're excited about. So in case you ever need a fandom to discuss, I'm like, come talk to us. We're ready.
I will too. No, I'm very excited.
That kind of leads right into my next question. So there is something really powerful, as you mentioned, when it's so nice to talk about books to people or fandom with people and to connect. And there's also like a power in that joint fandom connection or that joint love of a thing. And so why do you think that fandom is so powerful of a connecting tool? Because a lot of times we consume movies or books in isolation. We're by ourselves. But there's also these massive online communities built around books and fandom. And so what is it about those stories that brings us all together, kind of in your opinion?
Very deep question.
I
feel like for me, it's maybe a need to connect with other people and feeling like you're a part of something. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, like it is a deep question. Like I often think that like I wouldn't be where I am without the Harry Potter books, for example. If those hadn't have been written, my life wouldn't be where it is now. But I think being able to connect with people about something that you both have in common without having to worry about the noise from the rest of the world and all the serious things going on. Escapism as well. I think that's pretty high up there. I love to escape. I love to just get into my own little world. Yeah, I don't know if I answered that well enough, but
no, that's great. I think you're right. I think that that's kind of the purpose of LitJoy is we create connection and joy around stories, around literature, around fandom. And I think what's so compelling about it is you immediately have something in common with someone. And if you both love the same book, you've gone on the same journey together. And what I love about that is I think that the world is, I think that the media in the world often is divisive by nature. That it kind of, if you can incite that feeling of like us and them and they are the other, it can be monetized in so many ways and people can be taken advantage of in those ways. So what I love about books and fandom is if two people with very, very different life circumstances and very, very different belief systems can have that commonality of enjoying a story. I think it kind of proves the point that we're all a lot more similar than we are different.
Absolutely.
I just think that even when people are divisive about books, I still feel like there's a larger group of people that are the readers that hold it like dear to their heart, that there is diversity amongst those people and they still have that commonality. So I totally get it. I'm like, I understand Harry Potter and the phenomenon that was makes so much sense to me. Same with kind of Twilight after that, even like Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, these Doctor Who, as you mentioned, these fantasy worlds. I think people love the idea of talking to other people about those things they care about so much.
Absolutely. And it's such a good icebreaker as well, especially if you're just meeting people and you know that they're into that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, when you're really into something, it's just so nice to be able to talk about it with people that, as you said, have been on that journey and kind of experienced the same storytelling, for example, when it comes down to books or movies or whatever. Yeah, it's just very comforting as well, I think, being into something that other people love as much as you makes you feel a little bit less alone.
Yeah. I was going to say there's something about it that helps me feel seen, right? When this has happened so many times. I'm at Costco or a grocery store and I'm wearing one of our like LitJoy sweatshirts or something that just says something that says I'm a reader. People will just come up to me and they're just like, you read? Have you read this book? Like immediately just start connecting. Or I find the people around the books, wherever I'm at, and I kind of meander over and just connections happen almost immediately because
I've had the exact same experience when it comes to wearing stuff. Like if I'm wearing a particular, Harry Potter sweater or something, I've had people come up to me in supermarkets and be like, oh my God, where is this from? And, and then a whole conversation, sometimes friendships can start that way as well, which I think is pretty powerful. It's really lovely, really.
It is. Yeah. Like you feel seen, but you immediately connect in a way that's like, all right, you're one of my people. It's like, there's something about it that like when you're a reader or into fandom, it's like, there's no icebreaker needed. It's really just like, so we good? Yep. We're on the same page here. And that's what I love about it. It just feels like you skip some steps and we're like, we're buddies. Let's talk about this. So I did have another question that's, it's not on our questions here. So it's a little on the spot, but I'm also curious to know, as you've, ran your business and been running YouTube and all the different ventures that you've done, what are some, in your opinion, what have been some of the hardest things that you've run into along the way on your journey? And on top of just, these have been really hard moments, how did you overcome them?
Hard moments. I mean, I can go into general hard moments, which is learning things along the way, which I just didn't know. Like, I don't know, dealing with accountants and the financial side of things, which just sounds really boring. But, when you're not taught this, I never went to business school, and that kind of thing, wasn't too interested in mathematics and stuff at school. So to me, it was big, like, oh, okay, I have to figure this out and make it work. Other hard things, I I mean, they're pretty boring things, but like business fallouts and that kind of thing. Legal stuff, which I never ever thought I would be dabbling in, and stuff. Yeah, it's just all the businessy stuff, I think. Like this started as a hobby, very much fun and free. And I think as it's developed along the way and it has turned into businesses, you get all the really mundane, unfun businessy stuff that comes with building a business and a company. Like if I had a time machine and I went into the past and I spoke to little Cherry and I was like, you know what, you're going to run multiple businesses and have multiple companies in the future, like little Cherry would have laughed her socks off and be like, that's never going to happen. Alas, here we are. So yeah, I think just all of the businessy things that come with running companies and businesses, are the kind of boring and hard bits because they're not fun. I'm very much drawn to the creativity side of things, the fun bits of filming videos, sharing the books that I love, sharing the magical subscription boxes and talking about Harry Potter and all the nice things. That's the bit of my job that I love. But unfortunately, you cannot have the good bits without all the businessy, boring bits as well.
Yep. That's good.
Definitely.
I was wondering, if like you've had any really nasty trolls or anything on that side of it, but
we can certainly discuss that. And it's, you know what, I've never discussed this publicly, but I will. I'm very open to talking about it. There is sides of the internet which are very dark. And I think I remember when I first started YouTube, and I don't know who told me this, but someone said, when you start getting hate, that's usually when you're making it and you're getting somewhere with it, which kind of sucks because, you know, you want to make it, but you don't want any of that. But unfortunately, it comes hand in hand, you know, especially when you're putting yourself out there on a platform to hundreds of thousands of people. You know, you're not going to have the same opinions as everyone else. You're not going to see eye to eye with everyone else. People are going to disagree with you. So naturally, there are going to be people that don't like you very much, or they've formed opinions and things like that. For me, it's never been a massive issue regarding trolls. They definitely exist. But I think the great thing, if you can call it that, they're very contained to certain websites. So they're kind of in their own little void. So I don't really have to see it. I purposely don't go looking for it because it can definitely affect you and kind of get in your head a little bit. And yeah, I think I've definitely got a thick skin doing what I do. But yeah, there are definitely trolls online, and there's definitely a spot on the internet where they do talk about me, but I will never go looking. Yeah. But that comes with being a content creator, unfortunately.
Yeah, very much so. I can just very much relate to it. I can relate to like the creative parts of running a business. There's what you're drawn to, and then like having to deal with legal and accounting and taxes and you know, that those are all things that you're like, I know that I need those things to get to the fun thing. But as you grow, I feel like we've had such a similar growth trajectory with LitJoy as you have with your brand, and that we're like, oh, now we're like big enough that this is a thing we have to think about, and it kind of comes by surprise sometimes. And then also like the trolls, and you're like, well, they're paying attention to us, but you know, you get a spotlight, and then people have opinions, and the internet is like, you should share every opinion that comes to your mind. And so it's definitely, I've just been on the receiving side of those things and had those experiences. And I know what you mean. It's like, you kind of don't have to go, you don't need to go looking for them.
No.
And so.
No, for sure. Like, I'm always very aware that it is something that exists, but I'm very mindful not to go looking. But, you know, it doesn't stop me doing from what I do. Like, for every one negative comment, you'll get, or in my experience, we'll get 100 positive ones. And it's those that you have to give your time, energy, and attention to. But yeah, I mean, trolls have existed as long as I've been online, but I think it's definitely gotten bigger the bigger my audience have got. Naturally, I think that's it was going to happen. But, you know, as the way I look at it is the majority of these people have never met me. They don't know me the way my friends and family know me. They know what I choose and edit and give to the world. Like if I put a vlog out, for example, and it's a 10-minute vlog, that's 10 minutes of my 24-hour day. And the amount of assumptions that can be made from that. It's going to happen. And I'm okay with that. Like I'm kind of at peace with it's there. It's contained. It's fine. But I wish it didn't exist. It's not just me. Every one of my peers and my creator friends like deal with the same thing. But it is a shame that it exists, but it is part of the job, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. But, you know, and I've watched many of your videos and I always love to read through the comments, and it's pretty incredible. It's like you were saying, I'd say for every like 20 comments, there might be one person who's feels the need to say something. And, you know, I feel like you just don't engage. You engage with the people who are being positive and thoughtful and really kind. And I think that's another huge reason why you've created such a good community is you are engaging with your audience and with them. And you are very honest about like if there's something you like or don't like, which is again speaks to your authenticity. And I just think when people are living in like a full genuine way like that, that's what people are drawn to. Like Alix was mentioning, like you're lit up, you're passionate about it, and your people will find you. And I think you're doing a beautiful job balancing all of that, because I think anyone who decides to, as we call it, step into the arena and showcase something about them publicly. Yeah, you know, it's that, it's not really, it's like a story or it's
Brene Brown kind of repopularized it, but popularized it.
She made it popular.
Yeah. So I think the quote essentially is just, it's really easy to sit in the crowd and to yell out things at the person who's in the arena. But the person who's in the arena is the one who's taking all the risks and all the reward. Yeah. Because you can't win if you're not in the arena. And it's not necessarily, I don't think, to win against others. I just think that putting yourself out there in creative ways is super brave. And it's deeply fulfilling doing that thing. And so, yeah.
So we're just
That's such a nice way
congratulations.
Of thinking about
it. You're in the arena, putting yourself out there and creating amazing things. And if it sounds like you're just staying on the positive side of it, and we're over here just cheering you on because we know how hard that is.
I will always stay on the positive side of things. That's just my nature. So yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I want to talk, I just want to at the very end, because I think that this episode will air after the collection is announced. And so I do want to just really quick talk about the LitJoy plus Cherry collection that we have coming out.
An exclusive.
It is. We're so excited. So we're partnering with Cherry to create a collection of witchy themed products. I believe the first collection is more spring.
It's kind of like a green witch, herbal witch collection. And this is so fun because we didn't actually know you were opening a store based on this. It was just, you'd mentioned you're really leaning into the witch aesthetic lately. And so we're like, we are too. Let's get 100%. Witchy. And so for this first collection, you want me to go through like the items?
Yeah, I just, or Cherry, if there's anything that stands out to you in the collection that you're most excited about, feel free to jump in too.
Yeah. We have 5 items, I believe, dropping.
All of it.
Okay, good.
Okay, perfect. I'm so excited. Okay, so share the 5 items, and then these are for sure all in the first drop.
Yes, we'll have another drop later in the year. And I'm like, do we spoil that at all?
I don't know. I don't know if we're allowed to. But think if this one's more green witch, think about later in the year.
We're going a different witchy.
Some witchy aesthetics later.
We'll keep so we secrets.
Keep a few of them. We're going to have the 5 items drop in our shop in this spring.
Yes.
I believe. And it's the propagation station, which if you don't know what those are, they're these beautiful, darling little like mini like flower-based stands or little plant stands. It's great, especially if you are like cutting off some stems that you want to then plant and you don't get some roots going. And I'm like, you have to see it. So this is hard to describe, but
it's very apothecary feeling.
Yeah.
And very witchy. It's very cottagecore kind of a
almost
vibe.
Looks like a little like lab instrument, but it's got the beautiful wood piece that holds it up. And so I love those. I'm going to have multiple of those in my window.
Very herbology vibes. Very much down my street. Love plants. So I feel like we definitely had to have something planty where we can make more plants. I mean, you can never have too many.
I know. Like plant moms. Let me give you a tour of my plants. Also my children. These are my plants.
Also my children. We're having a herbology like satchel. Kind of like a little tote, kind of a bag.
A little accessory.
It's darling. The inside has this beautiful kind of herbology pattern. And then the outside has like this kind of earthy corduroy.
Yeah, it's kind of like my pants, but like a different color.
Corduroy's back in, y'all.
It's in.
It is. And then it has like the embroidery on the outside about being a green witch.
Just like a subtle hint of witchiness. Yeah. But I'm just picturing like carrying like putting all your books and then the plant you bought in it and then all your witchy supplies from Cherry's shop.
A wand sticking out. Yeah. So it's like really classy and subtle on like just visually on the outside, but when you open it up, it's just got this beautiful pattern inside. It's very elegant as well. And just another little nod to being a green witch. I'm very excited because I'm obsessed with mushrooms. We have a little mushroom candle that'll be coming out.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that one.
The little lid on it with the little spots.
It turned out really cute.
I will have many of those.
I was like mushrooms plus candles is like two of my favorite things.
I'm going to tuck them all through my bookshelves. And we have the botanical book vase. It's very beautiful, earthy. There's like a kind of a woman almost like tucked into the leaves of the greenery on the book vase. And you can use it obviously for like flowers and plants in the vase. You can also just put like, pens and markers and scissors in it, bookmarks. You can just tuck it up in your bookshelf. They're really cute. And I think it's about like 5x7 maybe.
Yes, the kind of the design of it kind of has like a woman in foliage. And it reminds me of like some like folklore or fairy tale.
Very folklore.
Of like this like living tree witch kind of person. And so that turned out really beautiful, very elegant.
Yeah. It has a lot
pattern.
Of gold foiling because we know Cherry.
Of course.
She was like, can we do more gold? We'll try.
Well, we all love gold foiling, but Cherry has such a good like artistic design eye of like where she would like it and things like that. Because, obviously Cherry helped create all these products. And the last one I forgot is I believe it's the acorn manifestation necklace.
Cute.
And it's going to be this really cute, beautiful, dainty kind of acorn charm necklace that you can unscrew. And you can put a little manifestation inside. I love it.
Or a spell.
So cute.
A spell, a picture. Yeah. And woodland is and greenery, all of that is very much our aesthetic. So we were like, this collection is lovely. We're very excited for it.
Yes.
And anyway, I don't know if you have any other thoughts on the collection. It's been really fun to be able to curate something with you again because it's been a minute. We used to do some magical crate stuff together and we've kind of all shifted gears and changed direction. We started our podcast last year and things like that. And you're opening your shop. So I'm like, look at us grow, guys. Look at us.
Everything's happening. Honestly, it's been so cute and a fun process designing these things with you guys. And I think they're all things that are really going to appeal to all of my audience. And I hope that they see a lot of the things I like in the items as well. I think they're going to do great. And I cannot wait to get my hands on them in person. It's going to be good.
It'll be fun. Perfect. So that's coming this spring. And if we know an official date, we'll go ahead and put that in the show notes below.
Okay.
Awesome.
Is anything else you want to tell us about anything you're up to or where our listeners can learn more about you or find you online?
I think I've told you all my secrets regarding the shop. But as regarding finding me online, you can find me at youtube.com/cherry. And if you do want to find out more about the shop and some of the behind the scenes, then you can head over to lostcauldron.com. I think we have a sign up for the newsletter there. But we've also got an active Instagram already, which is at Lost Cauldron. And I'm putting all the behind the scenes photos of the renovations and stuff stuff. So that's very much the big thing in my life at the moment, which I'll be focusing a lot of my time and energy and pouring all of my magic into. And I'm very excited, and I cannot wait to welcome the LitJoy team. Anytime you're in England, I will definitely give you a guided tour.
We would love that. That would be amazing.
Perfect name, by the way. I immediately was like, that name is perfect. So
you know where the name came from? So I was in a vintage store and I came across this massive, authentic cast iron cauldron. Like, it's huge. And I was just like, I need to own that. It cost a pretty penny, and it lived in my garage for a little bit. This was before we'd even found a property. So I was like, well, that needs to be a focus of the shop. So we went through every name that involved the word cauldron, and we finally came to the Lost Cauldron, and there will be a little tale about why the cauldron is lost.
The experience of the shop. I'm so excited.
I know. You're like, we love the curated experience.
Like, my dream is to open up a little bookshop. And I'm like, so you're like doing your bookshop, but it's witch stuff. It's amazing. So I'm just so happy for you. Yes.
Amazing, Cherry. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today. And
you're so welcome.
So open with us about all of our questions and answers. And we've just really enjoyed the relationship that we've had with you over the years, and we will continue.
Yeah.
I'm very excited I'm like, we will see you in person this year. I'm saying it.
Yes.
We're going to come manifest
to the Lost
Put it
Cauldron.
out into the universe. It's going to happen.
We're all manifest. We're just doing this.
It's true. Perfect. Well, thank you, Cherry.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, readers, for listening to this episode of the LitJoy podcast.
And like a good book, recommend us to your friends.